Welcome to HDTV. You now rocking with your boy. Now, this comes from Live Science. And this article is by Nicoletta Lanice, and it was published 2 days ago, August 27th. Half of Antarctica, no, excuse me, I'm tripping. Half of Antarctic ice shelves could collapse in a flash thanks to warming. Antarctic ice shelves can disappear astonishingly fast, sometimes in minutes or hours. As melt water surges through cracks in their surface and as the atmosphere warms, this phenomenon may become more commonplace. At least half of the ice shelves on the continent are vulnerable to this process, a new study suggests. These floating ice sheets ring Antarctica's glaciers and prevent them from sliding into the ocean. Without these icy barriers, glaciers would flow more quickly into the water, causing the continent to shrink and accelerating sea level rise. The new study published today, August 26th in the journal Nature, suggests that about 50% to 70% of ice shelves that hold Antarctic glaciers in place could become weak and potentially collapse with surges of melt water. What we find is that the amount of melting is important, but where the melting happens is also important, said lead author Ching-Yao Lai, a postdoctoral researcher in the Department of Marine Geology and Geophysics at Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory in New York. The research highlights which ice shelves are most likely to crumble, but not when the dissolution is most likely to occur. The time frame over which this process could happen is the biggest question, Christine Dow, the Canada research chair in glacier hydrology, and ice dynamics at the University of Waterloo, who was not involved in the study, told Live Science in an email. Cracks in the ice. Some ice shelves float on open water and do not slow glaciers slide into the sea because there's no landmass for them to brace against, but ice shelves confined to bays and gulfs create a physical barrier that the slow-moving glaciers butt up against. Lay and her colleagues focused on these so-called buttressing ice shelves. The buttressing shelves accumulate cracks on their surfaces as glaciers push against them from behind, and cracks also appear as the shelf pushes against the curvature of the shoreline. In addition, the ice shelves stretch out as they flow across the ocean water due to their velocity. Lay told Live Science, usually near the front of ice shelves, it gets stretched the fastest and this kind of breaking occurs, she said. When warm atmospheric conditions cause the surface of an ice shelf to melt water can pool in these cracks and cause hydrofracturing, a process in which the excess water puts pressure on the ice, deepening the cracks and sometimes triggering a complete collapse of the shelf. The meltwater can punch through the ice to the ocean in a matter of minutes to hours. As long as there's enough water available to keep on filling the crevices and keep up the pressure, Dow said. The crack in the ice then fills up with ocean water, and the shelf may begin to break apart. Scientists theorize that this is what happened to an ice shelf known as Larsen B, which lost 1,255 square miles, which is 3,250 square kilometers of ice over the course of a few weeks in 2002. According to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, for context, that area of ice is larger than the state of Rhode Island. To determine which buttressing ice shelves are vulnerable to collapse, Lay and her colleagues developed a machine learning model, an algorithm that can be trained to recognize visual features based on past images it has analyzed. The authors trained their model to recognize surface fractures in the ice using satellite images of two ice shelves, named Larsen C and George, I believe that's the 6th, in the northwest region of Antarctica and then applied the model to a complete map of Antarctica. With their map of ice cracks in hand, the researchers then determined which fractures in Antarctica's many ice shells would be prone to hydrofracture, given the pressures exerted on them from surrounding land masses and their movement over the water. Researchers have used this analysis at specific ice shells before, but this is the first time it has been applied to the Antarctic as a whole, Dow noted. The next big question is, how does the hydrofracture process contribute to the sea level rise? Lay said. To find out, the team will need to pair their model of ice cracks with climate predictions and a model of how ice flows over the bedrock of Antarctica. This ice flows downslope into the ocean, just like rivers flowing downhill, she said. In the future, this type of research will help the authors determine how fast and how much sea level rise could change due to cracking ice sheets. Given rising atmospheric temperatures, Lay noted as of now, estimating timescales on which these ice shells might break up due to surface melting and hydrofracture is beyond the scope of their study. Alison Banwell, a research scientist at the Cooperative Institute for Research in Environmental Sciences, or CIRES, at the University of Colorado Boulder, who was not involved in the study, told Live Science in an email, though the researchers don't have a time frame yet, some scientists predict that climate change may drive massive hydrofracturing events within a matter of decades, according to a 2015 report in the journal Earth and Planetary Science Letters. Also, Antarctic ice shelves are currently losing most of their mass due to basal melting, or melting on the underside of the ice sheet, in response to warming ocean temperatures. Banwell added, it would be interesting to see which ice shelves are most vulnerable due to all three processes, meaning basal melt, surface melt, and hydrofracture combined. Basal melting can make ice shells more prone to hydrofracture as the shells become thin and stretch more easily the more they melt, Lay added. So, basically, from listening to that, do you think we're in trouble? Do you think we see life coming to an end right before our eyes? I mean, I see it as the end of days if you look at it. And then look at the hurricanes that are coming. They're getting stronger and stronger. You got 2, sometimes 3 at a time coming. That's due to global warming. Al Gore and plenty of other people have talked about global warming for decades. And it's just that we're not getting better. Instead of companies trying to take away the pollution or trying to be more plant-based or be more life-based, they don't care. They're making money. So that's why I'm telling you, they're looking for planets out of space. That's why they're sending more drones out of space to look for other planets. And I think they got their eye on a couple of them where they're going to try to take as many people as they can, which are the people they want to take, and they're going to leave the rest of us here to rot. Earth could turn into a Venus because Venus is a greenhouse effect. They said Venus a long time ago used to have life on it. So do I see that happening to Earth? Yeah, because we're not taking care of the environment. We're cutting all these trees down. We have all this pollution going to the air and everything. And it sounds cliche, it sounds boring, but it's the truth. How are we going to get better when we're not doing the part to make life better? And then we got all this stuff going on in the news, the riots, and then unarmed black men being gunned down. You know, it's just a mess, and everything just seems like it's the end of days. That the world is really coming to an end, and it really seems that way. Now, if you're not biblical and all that, that's fine. If you don't, if you feel what I'm saying isn't you know isn't a thing to think about, then you're wrong. You should think about what's going on because this affects everybody. And this affects if the sea level continues rising, the whole United States will be underwater. You know that, right? Like the parts by Africa, Middle East, and all that, that will survive. We will not. So basically, what they need to do is they have to come up with a plan to slow this down, because if you continue going at the rate you are, we're not going to have no ice caps anywhere. We're going to all be underwater, like the movie Waterloo. I think Waterworld. I think it's Waterworld with Kevin Costner in it. I think that's the name of it. But it's going to be just like that, and we're going to have to adapt. As humans, we can adapt, but some can't. So let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think this is just a scare tactic? Do you believe this is real? This could happen where a lot of places could be underwater due to the global warming? Give me your opinion in the comment section. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming content. If you want to donate to the page, my Cash App is Harry, Harry, and the number 2. Again, if you want to donate to the page, the Cash App is Harry, Harry, number 2. And you could donate there on the Cash App. And shout out to On the Mark OTM with Cliff and Trecie. Check that out every Monday, I believe, from 5 to 9 p.m. And, you could do that on Facebook. Thank you for listening. We are out. La boy.